let's cover the top 10 best weapons for solo players to use inside of Season 23. You know what? Scratch that. These 10 weapons are so good that every single player should be using them this season. Getting right into the list, the best weapon that you can be using this season is none other than the Sunshot Exotic Hand Cannon. With the Sunshot's exotic perk Sunburn, giving it explosive rounds, and its exotic trait Sunblast, meaning that every enemy that you kill will explode in solar energy, this weapon is completely busted. Just having this hand cannon completely by itself is amazing, and you will feel the power of the Sunshot within seconds. Now, what makes this gun so special this season is two of the artifact perks that you can combine with it. The first one is Flint Striker. Rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows will grant you Radiant. Radiant will give you a flat 25% damage boost pretty much constantly because you'll be getting constant solar kills. The second artifact perk is Rays of Precision. While you're Radiant, solar precision final blows will cause the combat to ignite. So every single enemy that you kill with the Sunshot will blow up with Sunblast, the weapon perk, and they will also ignite and explode, causing an ignition, which will obviously spread more scorch around. Trust me, this weapon is completely broken, and if you aren't using it this season, you need to use it right now. Now, the second best weapon to be using this season is none other than the Polaris Lance. This gun is basically a scout rifle version of the Sunshot. With its intrinsic trait, the Perfect Fifth, after you've landed 4 precision shots, you will then load an explosive round into your next shot, which will explode and ignite the enemy. On top of this, if you have the weapon's Catalyst, precision kills create an elemental damage explosion, and obviously this damage will be solar because of the weapon's archetype. If you are pairing this gun with the said artifact mods, like I said with the Sunshot, this gun works very similar. You'll be seeing mass ignitions and scorch spreading. It will be the exact same as a Sunshot. I like to use this gun in activities where I'm more at range and I want to play a little bit safer, and I use the Sunshot when I'm getting in there and getting in the close range. Another amazing weapon that has been released this season is the Scatter Signal. Now, this Scatter Signal is a one-of-a-kind rapid-fire fusion rifle that is Strand. Now, this fusion rifle is one-of-a-kind because of 2 perks. This is the first rapid-fire fusion rifle in the game that can roll with Controlled Burst and Overflow, which are the 2 best perks to use on a fusion rifle for boss DPS. Being a rapid fire frame, it also means that we are going to get extra ammo and also faster reloading when the magazine is empty. You can grab this weapon this season from Riven in the Wish weapon focusing. This weapon is also craftable, so once you've got enough red borders for this gun, make sure to go and craft it with exactly the roll that you want. Trust me, you're going to want to pick this one up before the final shape, as it will be going away and it is a one-of-a-kind weapon. Now, this wouldn't be a solo weapon guide list if I didn't put the Riptide on this list. The Riptide is one of the best fusion rifles in the game to have as a solo player because it is a stasis rapid fire fusion rifle that can roll with Chill Clip. Now, I've mentioned this gun many times on many videos. If you still don't have a Riptide with Chill Clip, you are seriously missing out. Head over to Shaxx and purchase as many of these as you can with your Crucible Ingrams until you get one with Chill Clip. That is all you need. Now, the Riptide is especially good this season for all of its champion stunning capabilities. By normal, having a Chill Clip on a gun, you are able to stun overload champions by slowing them down with stasis. Very simple. You will also know that you can stun unstoppable champions by freezing them with stasis and then shattering that freeze. Another thing that the Chill Clip can do, after 3 bursts, it will freeze a champion and stun the unstoppable. Now, as you may or may not be aware, being Radiant will allow you to stun anti-barrier champions. And this season, if you put in the Flint Striker artifact perk that I mentioned before, as it states, getting rapid solar final blows will make you Radiant. This will then allow you to use the Riptide and stun the anti-barrier champions. So just this season, by using one gun, you can stun all 3 champions, making it an amazing weapon to use for Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now, the next weapon that I want to put on this list is another solar hand cannon, just because of all the solar perks and bonuses that we get this season. Solar subclasses and weapons are the way to go. Now, I'm actually going to recommend 2 hand cannons here, one of them that you should be using if you can get it, and the other one is an alternative to use if you can't get the first one. Now, the first weapon that I'm going to recommend to use is the Zhao Li's Bane from the King's Fall raid. Now, I'm recommending this hand cannon because it is basically a mini stun shot, however, it is in the legendary form, meaning that you can save that exotic slot for either your kinetic weapon or your power weapon. Running the Zali's Bane with explosive payload and incandescent basically does the exact same thing as the Sunshot, so it is just as strong and just as good. Now, the second alternative to this weapon, if you can't do raids or you don't have a Zali's Bane, is the Epochal Integration. Now, everyone should have this hand cannon. It came out sometime with the Lightfall DLC. This one is just as good. It goes in the same slot and it is solar, and it also has incandescent. The only thing it's missing is explosive rounds. However, it makes up for not having explosive payload by using its origin trait Nanotech Tracer rockets, which after landing multiple shots will send out little micro rockets, which do some decent damage. Again, both of these hand cannons are basically legendary forms of the Sunshot, saving your exotic slot for your power or your kinetic, very good in many situations. Now, the next weapon that I'm going to recommend is the Dragon's Breath Rocket Launcher, brand new in this season. Now, this rocket launcher can do some serious damage to bosses by inflicting Scorch and then eventually igniting. This rocket launcher is actually really good, especially if you have the Catalyst. Me, I've been a bit lazy and I haven't got the Catalyst yet, so mine isn't doing as much damage as it should. But trust me, the Dragon's Breath is a great option to do damage to bosses and work through different DPS cycles that you want to try out by setting off many solar ignitions on bosses. Up next is none other than the Wish Ender. This is an amazing bow, one of the best bows in the game, and it's just simply a workhorse. This has intrinsic anti-barrier, it does massive damage, and it is great for solo play when you're trying to stay back, stay alive, and do some serious chunk damage. The Wish Ender is always on my mind when I'm trying to do Grandmaster Nightfalls, or even do raids where there is any anti-barrier champions like Crota's End. Any weapon that has any sort of intrinsic stunning capabilities like Overload, Unstoppable, or anti-barrier already makes that weapon an amazing choice. The Wish Ender is overall just one of the best weapons in the game to use, especially if you like using bows, and that's just final. Now, if you haven't seen the trend in this video, you can tell that I like solar and all my incandescent weapons. Now, the next weapon that I'm recommending is the Ammit AR2. Yes, this one is amazing, and you guessed it, yes, it rolls with incandescent and also ambitious assassin. This has been one of my favorite seasons so far, with all of the ignitions, solar scorches, incandescent, and all of the radiant abilities. It's just a great season for it. And the Ammit AR2 fits right into this circle. Incandescent is going to go ahead and burn everything down, causing explosions and spreading scorch around. Once you've killed a few ads, depending on how many ads you killed, the ambitious assassin is going to reload and overflow the magazine, giving you more bullets to spread more incandescent and scorch around. This is a great weapon, it feels good, and it's just nice to use. Let's move away from the solar weapons, and I'm gonna recommend the sword The Other Half, purely because of its perk, Eager Edge. This is by far one of my most used weapons. I always switch between my energy and kinetic weapons, but there is always one power weapon that I use, and it is the Other Half sword. Just because of the Eager Edge, it allows me to jump around, skate, and move through activities twice as fast as I would if I didn't have it. I'm not sure about you guys, but being able to do Vanguard strikes twice as fast is much more satisfying to me because I don't want to be in there at all, so being able to jump and skate around makes this activity twice as fast and it makes it a lot more fun. The real endgame of Destiny 2 is seeing how fast you can complete activities by doing jump skips and well skating around the map. Now, the final weapon that I'm going to recommend this season is the Witherhoard. Now, the Witherhoard is an amazing boss DPS weapon. By putting this weapon into your cycle, you are guaranteeing yourself a few extra 100,000 damage by just sticking the boss once and then putting the weapon away. Everyone knows how the Witherhoard works. It is a great weapon to use and put into your damage cycles. As a solo player who doesn't communicate with other teammates, being able to use the Witherhoard to boost up your damage and your team's damage by a lot, it is a must-have in all raids, dungeons, or even nightfalls, or whatever you're doing. It is a great damage boost to use, and especially as a solo player, it is very easy to add into your DPS rotation. Not only is it easy to add, but it is also easy to use in a DPS rotation. If you have the Catalyst, just stick the boss, put the gun away, it's going to auto-reload, and within about 10 seconds, just pull the gun back out and stick it again. It does automatic damage for you, and it does pretty good damage. But anyway, Guardians, that will wrap the list up there. There are my top 10 recommendations of the best guns to use as a solo player, or even just as a normal player in the game. These are 10 great weapons that you should be using this season in Season 23. If you Guardians did make it this far in the video, feel free to drop a like and a subscribe down below. It would be much appreciated. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.